Good morning, everyone. I would like to call the Calbright College Board of Trustees meeting to order this morning on November 19th at 9:02 a.m. And before the meeting gets started, I'd like the board liaison to review the meeting procedures and protocols.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Terry Lucas, the board liaison at Calbright College. You can follow our meeting agenda on Board Docs. The link can be found on our website, which is calbright.org/board. For attendees who wish to make public comment in person, please fill out a public comment card and submit to me. For attendees who participate remotely, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Public comment should be used to address today's agenda. A reminder that this board meeting is being recorded. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Terry. And if I could ask you to please call the roll.
Love Adu. Absent. Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Present.
Maria Blaze.
Present.
Adrian Brown.
Present.
Lillian Corral.
Present.
Amy Costa.
Here.
Ricardo de la Fuente. Absent. Tom Epstein. Absent. Pam Haynes.
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis. Absent. Harry Legrand. Jennifer Perry. Absent. Bill Rawlings.
Here.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Here.
Blas Villalobos. Absent. Joseph Williams.
Here.
We have a quorum, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. Now we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Legrand, would you lead us in the pledge? Thank you, Trustee Legrand. We have a couple changes to our agenda this morning. Specifically, we are tabling item 4.2 and 5.1. 4.2 is the application for exemption from the 50% law. We pulled it because we wanted to make sure that we complied with the notice requirements and gave everyone the opportunity to chime in. So we will be definitely having that conversation at a future meeting. 5.1 is tabled because our Chief Product Officer is not feeling all that well, as is our Chief Executive Officer. So hopefully we can send good vibes to the both of them to heal and recover quickly and to take care of themselves. And we'll entertain that at a future meeting as well. So the high and the low of it is please take care of yourselves. It's the winter. Folks get sick. We need to make sure that we all stay healthy. So thank you, everyone, for being patient with those moves. Let's see here. The next item on our agenda is my president's report. And as part of our practice, I read to you the overview of what happened at the last executive committee meeting in the interest of keeping everyone up to speed. So first as to the October 15, 2025 executive committee meeting, we had the following board approvals. First, the appointment of Sarah Jimenez as interim vice president of marketing, communications, and outreach, effective on October 9th, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, at a proposed interim yearly compensation rate of $193,713.06, prorated by month based on the time in the position. And the second approval was the reappointment of Vivek Vyas to the Chief Product Officer position effective October 10, 2025, with placement on the executive salary schedule range EX11, Step 3, $259,726.50. There was a first reading of Board Policy 6550 for surplus personal property, which was reviewed and discussed, of which the approval for adoption is on today's agenda. And on information and reports, Ben Doe, the Vice President of Research and Development, provided an informational update on Calbright's partnership with CredLens, which will enhance the college's ability to track and measure student outcomes after program completion. We also had a constituency report from Deb Hemingway, the president of the Associated Students of Calbright College, who provided an update. And this concludes my remarks from the October 15th Board of Trustees Executive Committee meeting. We have the CEO's report, item 1.5, next. I believe we will be holding on to that as she is not here and we're not reading it into the record. So we'll wait on that one as well. So at this time, we'll move on to the closed session. We will be handling 3 items. First is item 2.1, the conference with labor negotiators, Government Code 54957.6, agency designated representative Joseph Bremgartner, employee organization California School Employees Association. Item 2.2 is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code section 54956.9D1. Name of case, Haley v. California Online Community College District et al., case number 34-2021-00304 381 CUOE GDS. And item 2.3 is the public employee performance evaluation, Government Code section 54957B, title President and Chief Executive Officer. Is there any public comment on the closed session items?
There is no public comment.
Thank you very much, Terry. We expect to return from closed session in approximately an hour and 40 minutes. See you then, everyone. Great. Thanks, everyone, for coming back. Terry, if you could let the record reflect that Trustee Epstein is with us, that would be great. All right, there is no report out of closed session. So following that, let's pop back up to item 1.5 for the CEO report. Because our CEO is not with us, Carmen will be delivering her remarks for her. So Carmen, over to you.
Good morning. Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and members of the Calbright Board of Trustees. My name is Carmen Drummond, for the record, Chief of Staff at Calbright College. Our President and CEO regrets not being able to join us this morning and has asked that I read the following remarks on her behalf. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. And this month, we're taking time for moments of gratitude is given extra space. I want to share my thanks for the board, the Calbright staff and faculty, and our students. Building an education and workforce institution in just a few short years that is creating meaningful, effective, and innovative opportunities for California's working age adults is no small feat. And in many ways, we're only just beginning. The Calbright leadership team has many opportunities to share Calbright's unique and rapid growth story of serving just a few dozen students in 2019 to now over 7,000. Still, it bears repeating and acknowledging all of those who have made our success possible. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of our journey and your commitment to serving more working age adults and achieving their education and career goals. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the connections between Calbright's mission and our responsibility to support working age Californians looking to reskill, upskill, and pivot careers, and the challenges Californians and so many across the U.S. are facing right now. We all see the incredible economic and uncertainty not having food and assistance and childcare creates in many people's lives. As the Public Policy Institute of California recently reported, 1 in 3 Californian adults cited the cost of living, the economy, or inflation as one of the most important issues facing the state. And about a third of Californians are worried that they or someone in their family will lose their job in the next year. California was built for times like we're experiencing now, to serve the millions of Californians who feel stranded, unable to access education and job skills that they need to quickly adapt to the changing economy and workforce. We know from testimony after testimony of our current Calbright students that being able to move from working multiple jobs or out of declining industries to now having a pathway to better career is what Calbright programs, gaining durable skills in a supportive community are providing so many working age Californians who don't know where else to turn have somewhere to go. The economic landscape will likely be challenging for the foreseeable future due to several actions, particularly at the federal level. But Calbright's commitment remains steadfast to serving and supporting Californians seeking to build a better life for themselves and their families. Today, I'm eager to hear updates on initiatives that map to our strategic goals in important ways. This includes an update on our partnership with UCI Irvine and Ideas 42, applying behavioral and data science to significantly improve student success and labor market outcomes for adult learners. So for that, you'll hear from Marissa Bold, our Vice President of Sustainable Growth and District Development, about the latest initiatives, making it easier for our students to access vital benefits like CalFresh and Medi-Cal, following an intensive process of student-centered design and iterative testing. Now we'll also be co-designing and piloting initiatives and approaches from what we've learned with our sister institutions, particularly Barstow Community College and LA Trade Technical College, to scale and support even more learners across the state. As always, I'm immensely proud of what our team continues to learn and build together. As you'll see on the agenda, we are happy to bring forward an agreement with the California School Employees Association, CSEA. This represents our continued collaboration with CSEA, and we are incredibly thankful for our work together in achieving this agreement in support of staff. Finally, last week, Calbright leaders were at the National CBE Exchange, hosted by the Competency-Based Education Network, not only sharing the why, but the how Calbright is committed to the holistic success of adult learners and preparing them for in-demand jobs. Conference attendees wanted to know more about how Calbright is making sure these essential durable skills, such as communication, critical thinking, problem solving, alongside digital literacy and career navigation, are embedded directly into students' learning experiences. It was Calbright leaders' honor to share how we blend together technology and human-centered approaches to best prepare our students, not just for the current workforce, but to build them up for success as their lives in the labor market continues to fluctuate around them. With that, I thank you, President Aguinaldo. That includes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carmen, for stepping in for Ajita. And again, we hope she feels better very, very soon. All right, team, let's move to the consent agenda. Do any trustees wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote? Hearing none. Terry, any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Thank you, Terry. I'll entertain a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Epstein and Haynes, thank you very much. Terry, may we have the roll?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
And Joseph Williams.
Aye.
$11 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much, Terry. The motion passes. Let's move to the action agenda. Item 4.1 is ratification of collective bargaining agreement with the California School Employees Association and its Calbright chapter number 53. For that, we'll pass it to Joseph Bremgartner, our VP of Human Resources. Thank you, Joe.
Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and members of the board. Today, I'm bringing you a tentative agreement between Calbright College and CSCA Chapter 53, our classified employees. This agreement was reached as a result of several months of negotiations to create a successor agreement to the inaugural CSCA agreement, which expired on June 30th of 2025. Through a collaborative process with our labor partners, we feel that we've reached a fair agreement for your consideration and therefore seek your approval and ratification.
Thank you very much, Joe. Any board discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll take public comment.
There is one public comment from Mike Palmieri. Mike, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, members of the board. Thank you. My name is Mike Palmieri, and I serve as a career services specialist here at Calbright College, as well as the vice president of CSEA Chapter 53, and I was a member of the bargaining committee that worked on this successor agreement. I want to thank you for your consideration of the updated collective bargaining agreement, which is the result of months of productive negotiation between the college and our classified staff. I'm proud to share that our members unanimously approved this agreement in our voting process. I respectfully encourage the board to approve this agreement, and I appreciate your time and commitment to supporting Calbright's classified professionals. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. At this time, I'll take a motion in a second.
I'll move to approve.
Second. I'm sorry.
Rawlings and Haynes. No, I heard Haynes first. Terry, will take the roll, please.
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
Joseph Williams.
Aye.
11 approve, 0 oppose.
Thank you very much, Terry. The motion passes. We'll take 4.3, declaration of surplus personal property, and for that, we'll pass it to our Chief Financial Officer, Edward Lee.
Hey, good morning, Board President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and members of the board. My name is Ed Lee. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Calbright College. I'm here to seek board authorization for disposal, which includes potential donation where possible for organizational and personal property that has been determined to no longer be needed by Calbright College. After review of the college's personal property, staff has determined the following personal property is not required, unsatisfactory, not suitable for school purposes, as it is either irreparable, obsolete, or in poor condition. 20 monitors, 18 docking stations, and 6 monitor stands. Based on current resale prices for similar items in comparable condition, a market comparable approach was taken to determine the valuation of these items. These items have a total value of less than $5,000. I'm happy to take any questions from the board at this time.
Thank you, Ed. Any trustee discussion? Trustee Haynes.
So this is probably a procedural question. Do you foresee this kind of item to be a voting item? Well, I've only seen this item in my time as a consent item, in which if there's issues relative to it, then any member of the board can pull it for discussion. Is Calbright considering that, or is it going to be always on as a voting item? Because the money relative to this is just so, it's pittance.
Yeah.
And usually there's a contract that says we'll take it, and then it's usually dumped relative to that. But I just wondered how you felt about that.
I can chime in if desired. The policy that was just approved by the board in the second reading delegates to the president the power to declare as surplus property. So anything that's not needed. So beyond this, the declaration of property as surplus will be within the purview of the president. However, when it comes to permission to dispose of it, other than a public sale, then the board is required to determine that it's valued at less than $5,000 and able to go by private sale by unanimous vote. So that would require a unanimous vote in a separate item agendized if we were going to do it anything other than a public sale.
Yeah, for clarification, Oh, sorry. For clarification, I'm just asking whether it should be on consent generally, as opposed to being a vote every time this happens.
Right. I think the issue would be determining the unanimous vote by the board. If it was were to be grouped with other items, we would not be able to identify and record that the board has unanimously voted.
Does our policy require the unanimous vote other
If
than
it's-
You have to
things that I
vote by
approve?
name.
Both the statute and our policy that we just approved, which incorporates the statute, requires that the board to determine by unanimous vote that it's less than $5,000 and able to go to be given away if necessary. So if it was just to dispose of it,
I'm still
that would
confused.
be within the purview of the president. But if we're seeking to proceed by anything other than a public sale or things of that nature, then it would require a unanimous vote of the board.
Okay. Wanda, I think it would be helpful if we also knew the statute. I hear some board members are a little bit confused over the origin of our responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to go back to the policy we just approved. The education code is actually identified in that statute. So give me a minute while I scroll. This was approved on consent.
Okay. While Wanda is
Adrian's
looking,
first.
we'll take Trustee Williams's comment.
Adrian was first.
Oh, Adrian, Trustee Brown.
It's my understanding that consent items are unanimous and they only get pulled when there's not going to be a unanimous vote. So if the goal is to have a unanimous vote, I think Member Haynes' suggestion for the future to group it with the other consent items would be appropriate, if I'm understanding this all
Yeah,
correctly.
because in the case of a consent, because I've had to do it, I've requested it to be pulled so that for a discussion, and it's completely appropriate legally.
Yes, but I have seen consent items where the vote is 9 yes and 1 no in the consent calendar, and all the groupings pass. But there is no, because they're registering a vote against, one person is registering a vote in opposition of one of the items, and you can do that without pulling it
Oh, I see.
if you don't want any discussion.
So you're saying we can't do this?
I would say we risk not being able to articulate that in cases where there may be a less than a unanimous vote for the in favor of approving the consent calendar, then we don't know. We cannot articulate or determine. So that would just be the risk.
But there's a function for me to approve disposal of like 3 mouse pads. So the things that would get to the board are the important things. I think that's the long and the short of it. Is that right, Wanda?
Yeah, and
Okay.
we're just bound by the ed code, and the ed code
All right.
says, by unanimous vote of the board. And so here we
I'm
are.
happy to talk about disposal of mouse pads if anybody is interested. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Any public comment, Terry?
There is no public comment.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion in a second, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Rawlings and Trustee Villavicencio. Terry, will take the roll, please.
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa. Amy Costa is absent. Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry LeGrand.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
Joseph Williams.
Yes.
10 approve, 0 oppose.
Wonderful. The motion passes. Thanks, everyone. We are moving now to information and reports. Item 5.2 is the update on Calbright and the University of California Irvine partnership. And for that, we welcome Vice President of Sustainable Growth and District Development, Marissa Bold. Marissa, you can talk about who you're joined with. I think it would be part of an introduction from you.
Yes, absolutely. I can start there and then we'll adapt. I will be joined by Kathy Senderling McDonald, an incredible subject matter expert who we got to introduce briefly last time, and I'll do a reminder when we shift to Kathy. She's with Catbird Strategies, and Tom Tashi from Ideas 42, the behavioral design nonprofit that we partner with, along with the University of California, Irvine, UC Irvine. So super appreciative and excited that they are with us. So more formally, hello, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and members of the board. For the record, just as Carmen did, I'm Marissa Bold, Calbright's Vice President of Sustainable Growth and District Development. I am excited to be here today to share an update on one of our high-impact partnerships as part of a portfolio of ways that Calbright is accelerating impact and innovation for working adult learners across the state in our capacity as an R&D engine. Today, we'll lift up some of the work in progress with this Calbright UCI partnership and our partners Ideas 42, and really look at ways that we have grown our capacity and are bringing our evolved arc of the work to life through the example of our basic needs pilot. Next slide, please. Stepping back for just a moment, some people have seen this slide many times, for some it is newer, so we always take a step back just to frame on the motivation and framing of the partnership and the arc of our work, but it is amazing to think we are more than halfway through this multi-year partnership that is deeply aligned to Calbright's mission and strategic vision. And this continues to be highly collaborative, action-oriented work focused on applying data and behavioral science strategies to inform new and responsive approaches to support our focused population of working adult learners. We've continued to engage teams across the college, building capacity, supporting student outcomes, and generating and sharing research-driven insights with the field. Next slide, please. We always anchor in the arc of the work, and this is an evolution of that I think we've talked about in our April and May board meetings, and we always start here. Initially in this partnership, we focused most on the first bucket, R&D, the research and development, and built a really strong foundation. Using data and behavioral science has not just been a single research effort or a siloed approach for us, but has really become the way we do our work across the college. As you'll hear throughout each of the interventions we talk about in the pilots, we are identifying and solving problems in new ways. We're listening deeply to our students' perspectives, using data in powerful ways, and regularly designing, testing, iterating, and sharing new approaches to improved outcomes for our students. This evolved arc builds on the foundation we established and really extends it for broader impact and learning with a deeper focus on scalability, collaboration, and systemic impact. In the strategic diffusion bucket, when we met last, we talked about our goal of focusing even more on scalable pilots with transferable lessons learned, broader statewide impact, and collaborating with others earlier in the process to enhance that impact, capacity building, and scalability. And you'll see these themes throughout our conversation today on our basic needs work. And as President Menon and Chief of Staff Drummond mentioned at the top, some partnerships that we're really excited to have with sister colleges as well. The thought leadership and the focus on longer impact buckets have really also been powerful levers guiding our work. Calbright continues to be at the leading edge of the learning curve for adult learners and sought out regularly for insights, collaboration, joint research, projects, convenings, panels, including the one we heard in the president's remarks, and one just last week where Calbright was lifted up as a national model for impact through behavioral design work. And now we're excited to lift up an example of this work in practice through our basic needs pilot, which we previewed in May when it was at its earliest stages. And this pilot is really focused on increasing student success and workforce outcomes through enhanced student access to and uptake of public benefits, and designed with an eye toward that strategic diffusion and scale and the collaborations with subject matter experts, sister colleges, counties, and more. I will pass it over next to our partner, Kathy, to share more about the benefits landscape and how we're really uniquely positioned to help address some of the persistent challenges and accelerate impact for students in the space. We introduced Kathy last time and are so appreciative of the decades of experience she brings in the public benefits space, including most recently as Executive Director of the County Welfare Directors Association of California. Next slide, please, and over to you, Kathy.
Great. Thank you so much, Marissa. I appreciate the opportunity to talk again with the board here at our at the meeting today. For the record, I'm Kathy Senderling McDonald, CEO of Catbird Strategies. My consulting firm is based in Sacramento, and I've been working with the Calbright team for about a year and a half now. As a reminder, with this project, we're focusing primarily on the main 3 programs that county human services agencies operate on the state's behalf. Those are CalFresh, CalWorks, and Medi-Cal. So nutrition assistance, cash assistance, and healthcare and coverage. We're focusing on these programs for a couple of reasons. First, these are the programs that the CalSAWS computer system, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, it's the computer system that county human services staff use, and its public-facing front end, known as Benefits Cal, also primarily focuses on those 3 programs. And second, these are also going to be the major programs that Calbright students can consistently access across the entire state. We know that programs focusing on housing or childcare, for example, could have local differences in which agencies operate them, as well as the availability of funding or services, how those things are accessed. Whereas the 3 programs that we're really talking about here today and have focused so far on in the project are much more consistent in how you apply and how you are found eligible for those. Historically, CalFresh enrollment rates are typically a lot lower for college students than we would hope or expect, given the levels of need and likely eligibility. We know less about take-up rates with the other programs, but we do know that a significant percentage of students face challenges related to nutrition, health, and financial stability. We also know that addressing those needs, that is, ensuring students get enough to eat, can see a doctor when they need to, and have funds to pay their bills, all things that public benefits programs help with, will help students achieve their educational goals. And there's a long history of supporting public benefits access for students in the community college system. But we're aware that students frequently underreport their basic needs and security, which limits institutions' ability to connect them with critical support. We know that students eligible for public benefits often face barriers during the application process, resulting in incomplete applications or a failure to receive available support. We talked with the board last time about some work we've already done during this project to first understand why students might be reluctant to share their needs, and then to test multiple messages, identifying the most successful ways of framing the concept of basic needs to students. We found a clear standout, and we've been using that messaging in our work going forward, as well as incorporating this approach into the onboarding interview that all Calbright students experience. In our subsequent work on the project since we last met with you, we focused on connecting students with resources and specifically helping them access benefits online. Our approach integrates with Benefits Cal, which I mentioned earlier, the online application and eligibility system that all 58 county human services agencies now use. We've also continued to pay close attention to scalability and engagement with colleges outside of Calbright, as well as with counties and community partners. Overall, we think this is an opportunity to really move the needle on outcomes for students. Next slide, please. Thanks. This is a unique moment in time where the intersection is really powerful, and we're excited for Calbright to play a leading role in this effort around public benefits enrollment. Calbright is a great choice as an institution to conduct this work because of a few factors. First, demographics. While a lot of people still think about that traditional college student, relatively young, still dependent on and often living with their parents, recent studies are showing that nearly 3/4 of college students across the board are financially independent from their parents, work full-time, or fall into another non-traditional category. Calbright students are very representative of this, of older students, students who have families, and students who are themselves caregivers. The school has already made explicit efforts to better serve the needs of working learners, a group that has not been as engaged in broad public benefits outreach efforts up to now. So this project is right in line with those values and the efforts that the college has made in the past. And second, importantly for this is Calbright's statewide reach. We have a presence in 57 of California's 58 counties now, which allows us to strengthen and expand statewide partnerships. Remember that county human services agencies run all of these major public benefit programs on behalf of the state. And third, it's especially timely to think about designing at scale and conducting enrollment outreach across the full spectrum of the public benefits landscape, because students can apply for multiple benefits on Benefits Cal, and it's a statewide portal that all 58 counties are using. Overall, this approach complements the support students may already receive from Calbright counselors or staff by providing additional tools that address their needs without increasing workload on institutional teams or requiring extensive training or expertise in public benefits programs. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tom to share how we're collaborating to apply a behavioral science framework in this work. Tom? And next slide, please.
Thanks for teeing that up, Kathy. And again, for the board, I'm Tom Tashi, Director of Innovation at Ideas 42. And it is my privilege today to get to share with the board some of the collaborative design work that we've been carrying out over the past few months since our last board update. I want to start with the framework you see up here, which at a really high level has guided our application of behavioral science insights across all of the piloting we've been doing over the past 3+ years of this partnership. And whenever we're trying to support students, whether that's with the Calbright enrollment process or the Benefits Cal application process, we try to break things down into 3 broad goals, the goals you see up there on the screen. That's first, focusing student attention. Second, trying to build student intention. And then finally, trying to facilitate student action. So at the attention stage, we work on ways to help students focus on the right things at the right time amid schedules we know are very busy and a very crowded information environment. Then at that intention stage, we work to try to create supportive choice architecture so that students can make decisions that are right for them with ease and with confidence. And then finally, at that last action stage, we work to make sure students are actually able to follow through on the choices they make by removing as much friction as possible. So in the context of basic needs, this framework reveals a whole range of different opportunities to leverage behavioral science insights. For example, at the attention stage, we know that the first couple weeks after enrolling in college bring just a lot of inbound messages, a lot of stuff competing for students' limited attention. So we work to make sure anything we're sending related to basic needs is tailored to the student as much as possible, removing information that might not be relevant to them, sending it over the right channel at the right time, and maybe most importantly, from the right senders. Or at that intention stage in the middle, we know that one reason students don't use benefits can be perceived stigma around doing so, or a misperception that programs like CalFresh aren't intended for them. So we can think about ways to help students understand that these programs are actually a normal part of a student's journey, something many students actually use, to help them build that intention to do things like seek out more information, maybe attend an info session, or ultimately submit that benefits application itself. And then finally, at the action stage, we know that many students hesitate to seek out information or apply because of things like the perceived complexity of the eligibility criteria or the application process itself. So we can design ways to simplify it or chunk it into more manageable pieces and offer targeted support. Next slide, please. Now, in our first wave of piloting, as we've hinted already today, we've already had great success leveraging these kinds of insights to surface some transferable tactics that we can use to help students identify and disclose their needs to Calbright, sign up for and attend basic needs workshops, and actually get started on the benefits applications. Now, we've shared some of the measurable impact from that work previously, and today I want to actually showcase a bit more of the how of this work, because we think it's a great model for how to build the institutional infrastructure for continued learning and innovation in service of adult learners. And this kind of colorful pinwheel up here highlights some of the key components of our process. And to begin with, the key ingredient across all this work has been deep listening with students themselves. Whether that's through surveys, focus groups, interviews, or longitudinal follow-up, the student experience remains just dead center across all of this work. And at the same time, we've been mindful of tapping on existing experience and expertise among Calbright faculty and staff when it comes to public benefits and how to fold these kinds of supports into the student journey. Now, along that vein, to make sure this work is well coordinated with other initiatives happening at the college, we're also establishing a cross-functional working group to guide our efforts and bring in a range of perspectives to the collaborative mapping sessions we carry out to fully contextualize the student experience of applying for public benefits. And finally, we've taken advantage of the opportunity to engage outside experts to draw on existing evidence and knowledge of the benefit space in our work, both to increase our impact at Calbright, but also to improve the transferability of what we ultimately design, test, and try to scale. Next slide, please. So you're probably thinking, that's all fine and well in the abstract, but what does it look like in practice? And right now I want to try to make it a little more concrete, show a little more what this has looked like in motion at Calbright. So as always, a key part of the work has involved the kind of rapid cycle pilots that you've seen us present many times before. We're co-designing new ways to support students at every stage of the benefits application process, from their Calbright onboarding onward, and then testing those approaches to see what works, and most importantly, how we can make them even more effective going forward. Now, to give one highlight, our pilot of reframed intake questions to help Calbright identify students who might benefit from basic needs support led to a roughly threefold increase in the number of students actually proactively disclosing a food or housing insecurity, which we all know is a critical first step in helping connect them to the resources they need. But beyond that, we're also coordinating cross-functionally to make sure that our efforts are well aligned with the rest of Calbright's student-centered supportive services, working particularly closely with the wonderful counseling faculty, both to capture their insights and also partner on new ways to engage students. Together, we've already developed a new model for an interactive basic needs workshop that's now become a regular offering at the college. And as mentioned, we've made a very deep investment in student listening. We've engaged literally hundreds of students to understand their perceptions and knowledge of public benefits up to now, giving them routine opportunities to share that experience with us. And going a stage deeper, we're continuously conducting in-depth interviews, surveys, focus groups to better understand how students think about available resources, think about and react to some of the ideas we're coming up with to support them, and always capturing that feedback, while also working with a handful of students to trace their journey a little more longitudinally across the application process itself. Next slide, please. Before I hand things back to Marissa, I want to spend just a moment reviewing some excerpts from the deep learning we've been doing alongside students to highlight some of the behavioral barriers students are facing, as well as the opportunities we're aiming to seize to help them. So up on the top right there, I'll just read that out to give voice to it. You get updates in your portal way before you get them in the mail. It's very important to have access to your portal and to check it regularly. I think you see the student noting challenges around messaging, something we hinted at earlier, being sent across multiple channels, and also the importance of going into the student portal to get important information. And to us, this really touches on some of those attentional barriers we mentioned earlier and points to ways we can help enhance how those basic needs messages are coordinated and conveyed to students, reaching them at the right time. Or on the left, if I add myself to the application, will it cause them not to give me benefits to my family because of my immigration status? I sat here for like 10 to 15 minutes thinking if I should click yes or no. I think this student is really giving voice to that ambiguity, the decisional complexity of many of the choices that go into applying for basic needs support. And this kind of testimonial that we hear so often reinforces the importance of that supportive choice architecture I mentioned earlier. That's really core to the work we try to do at that intention stage of the behavioral framework. How do we help students move more quickly through those tough decisions, make choices that are right for them, and have confidence in doing so? And then finally, on the bottom right, gathering and uploading documents was the hardest part of the application process for me. We hear constantly from students with stories like that quote, describing just the hassles involved with gathering and uploading all of the information, the documentation to apply and recertify. It really underscores the importance of that final action stage of the framework, where we do everything we can to try to smooth out the frictions from the benefits application process and provide that targeted support when the students need it. So this is just a small sample of the kind of insights that are helping us make sure that the interventions we're collaboratively designing are directly responding to the real challenges that we know students are facing in their journey through the benefits application process. Challenges we know exist certainly for Calbright students, but well beyond as well for adult learners more generally. And on that note, I want to hand things back to Marissa to talk about how we've recently begun to take our deeper understanding of these cross-cutting challenges and channel that into transferable approaches to driving real improvements when it comes to basic needs. So over to you, Marissa.
Thanks so much, Tom. And I have so much appreciation, so going a little off my own script, just for this work and for the voice of our students and the resilience and the effort and the impact and the skills and strengths, and just that's why we're here. So I just am so appreciative of this work. And just the ways that we are really listening and designing with our students and centering all of that work on the outcomes. So excited to zoom out just a moment on some of the expanded partnerships and engagement, also anchored in students and with partners who are similarly focused that way, because we know that addressing the barriers to public benefits access and retention is a big undertaking, and there is so much momentum and insight from community-based organizations, sister institutions, counties, and others across the state. And we've had the privilege of learning from and collaborating in these efforts as we work to move the needle in this space. We had the hypothesis about the amplified impact this work could have through a focus on strategic diffusion, and I'm excited to share, and that were previewed in our president's remarks, 2 new partnerships with sister colleges that are really emblematic of this work. We have recently signed MOUs with Barstow Community College and LA Trade Tech, and we're talking to many others as well, to collaborate on projects leveraging data and behavioral science with an initial focus on this basic needs work we've been talking about today. And while we're at the early stages of scoping that collaboration, we're excited about the new lens that both of these institutions will bring and the opportunity to build on Calbright's R&D capabilities, the expertise we've developed in data and behavioral science, and to work directly with sister colleges to learn together, to share promising practices, and to collaborate to accelerate the design of new and responsive approaches to support student outcomes. We look forward to coming back to the board with a joint update on some of that work at a future meeting too. Next slide, please. Finally, just circling back for a moment to anchor in the broader arc of the work. If our slides do catch up with us, if not, we remember we saw it earlier, but this Basic Needs Project is a terrific example of this arc in action, where we've really been able to build on our R&D efforts at the leading edge of the learning curve and start to bring the scale and collaboration and partnership and acceleration to life, really driving meaningful dialogue around how institutions can adapt to support outcomes for our learners. And as always, we are so excited about the measurable impact from the specific pilots and interventions, but also the reason we always come back to the process that underlies it is because we think that's what makes this innovative approach more replicable, sustainable, scalable, to have that long-term growth and impact, both for Calbright students as well as the millions of working adult learners across California and beyond. Next slide, please. This is just a thank you to all of you for your continued support, your leadership, your voice, your advocacy in this space. We are so appreciative and welcome any thoughts and questions.
Thank you, Marissa. It's such a pleasure to see recurrent faces, yours, Tom's, Catherine, just continuing to bring to us the progress on this project. And before I get into my comments, I'd love to take any from the board if there are any. Trustee Villavicencio.
I appreciated the the presentation, and obviously the focus is on basic needs. It had me thinking about our undocumented students, and obviously given recent federal policy that is keeping our students in the virtual space for reasons we know. I was wondering if there are similar programs in place that Calbright has to serve, again, our undocumented students with Dreamer resources, legal resources, or whatnot, and whether that is already embedded, because I'm not sure, or whether or not that's something that we can move forward with to definitely serve this vulnerable population at this time.
So appreciative of that. I would be out of my depth if I spoke in specifics, and I don't think we happen to have the people on the call this time to speak in depth. That absolutely, it is something we talk about. We are thinking about all of our students and especially our most vulnerable students. And but our student services team, especially, and our counselors and our deans and our director and manager of student life. But I will circle back in our next update. I'll make sure that we touch on that too, because it is something that we are thinking about. We're talking about justice-involved populations and many of our different students. So while I can't say in depth, I will make sure that we circle back and we absolutely share that focus on lifting that up and thinking about what we can do.
I'm grateful that that's all in the forefront of your mind to serve all of our vulnerable students at this time. Thank you.
Trustee Epstein.
Hi. I really like this idea. In fact, for those who have been on the board for a while, they know I've talked a lot about, over the years, about students having access to Medi-Cal, for instance. And, this is an idea that's been around for a long time. When I worked at Blue Shield 10 years ago, some McKinsey consultant pitched us on a portal to access all of these public benefits. And I like the fact a lot that you're involving other colleges, because I think obviously if we have the keys to making this more effective, it should be shared everywhere. But I have actually a question for the members of the board who represent various colleges, and I'd like to know, what are the colleges doing to facilitate this kind of access to state programs, basic needs, and how is this different? And do you think the other colleges would be receptive to hearing about it?
So there are other colleges. Compton College comes to mind because that particular president superintendent has had that focus relative to the populations of students that are served there, and has made inroads. And Compton College is within LA County. And you can correct me if I don't get this right. But it is it would be much better if we could figure out a way to do it where it's not one college, one district at a time. That's the real challenge. But the county system, it can be prohibitive relative to that. But at least now the counties know that there's these population of folks that really do qualify. But there hasn't been, and maybe within the chancellor's office there is a group or staff that are working on it. But the challenge really is how do you move it where you're maximizing who gets the benefits, and it's not sort of college and district by district.
Yeah, she's right. It is district by district, and San Bernardino Community College District, we have a partnership with IEHP, and so it allows students to get access to all of their physical screenings. Then there's also a partnership with CalFresh for food, and but it is district by district, so it's really up to the institutions currently to build those partnerships. There's not like a systems-wide approach that I'm aware of. Yeah.
There, and I wish Amy was here. I think there had been a piece of legislation that had been worked on, but I am not certain if it's just sort of in process, whether there's an author. I can't remember those pieces of it, but it's certainly worth looking into.
So the state portal that has the 3 different access points, I mean, is that how new is it?
It's relatively new.
It's new.
Yeah, Kathy, if you want to speak, and one thing, and then I'll turn it over to Kathy to talk about that portal. We are approaching this with humility. There is no question, right, that it has been, people have been working on this for decades and longer, and we have the utmost respect. We are appreciative of learning from that, but also seeing how, and the enthusiasm we're getting when we talk to people, that this behavioral framework, right, that attention, intention, action, where can we be thinking about where there might be barriers in the system that we just hadn't thought about, or where we can do something that scaffolds and makes that more seamless, more frictionless, supports students in meeting them where they are, because everyone has that shared goal, which is we appreciate in this space. And so we are seeing a lot of willingness to collaborate and also willingness to think differently and to try something and move the needle. And the fact that we now have this system
is just
in place.
amazing because you had to go to each one of the entities. So there's some things in
this
in
moment
terms
in
of the
time.
design. It is the moment in time, and COVID has made a very big difference relative to how important access to these kinds of services really are to the general population, and our students actually fit the general population.
Great. And Kathy, do you want to speak to the CalSAWS system or other aspects that speak to Trustee Epstein's question?
Sure. Thank you so much. Happy to do that. Hi, Trustee. Great question. The access online has actually been around longer than you'd think. It's been about 20 years where there has been some kind of online application and online access.
Yeah.
What's different about CalSAWS, which is the back end system, and Benefits Cal, which is that public facing front end, is that all 58 counties are using the same system.
Same one, yes.
Up until this point, and this started in October of 2023, you had originally 4 systems. It moved to 3, and then kind of skipped over 2 and went to 1. And it took quite some time to get from 3 to down to 1 because for a number of reasons that I could go into, but we probably don't need to. But what that meant was you had if someone was moving, we saw this a lot with students who might be living away from home. There were issues with that. Things are not perfect now that we have just one system that all 58 counties are using, but certainly having it be consistent, having it be the same language, the same front end, everybody can utilize that. And the other thing that's newer is being able to upload documents, to do mobile access, to get text messaging. All of those are things that have been coming in in sort of a piecemeal way over the last decade or so. But now with everybody on one system, they're able to do that more consistently. So I think you've got this opportunity with this moment of here's a situation where with Calbright in 57 counties, you know that worker in the county is going to be using the same thing no matter where your student is located. And so those are some opportunities that we didn't have until just very recently.
So if I can continue here. So how much has this been experimented with our students? I mean, has it shown to really move the needle for the students who have been prodded in this way by the behavioral science?
Yeah, I'll speak at a high level, and then Tom, you could share a little. We started out with the awareness, disclosing the need, because we've seen that across the state, right? And for all of our sister institutions. And if the students aren't disclosing the need, they aren't necessarily, we aren't able to meet them where they are. And with the steps that we've taken, as Tom mentioned before, we saw a 3x disclosure of need, significantly more students. Then we created these workshops where we engaged, throughout this, we engaged hundreds of students. Then we had many attending the workshops. Our counselors are innovating. And then from those, we started following students through this process. Students said, yes, we're willing to work with you because we wanted to see what does it actually look like from a student's perspective. What is happening in that process? That's how we got some of the insights that Tom mentioned. But of course, no surprise, it ended up being having more complexity at each sort of layer of the onion that we peeled back. But the fact that our students know that we are here for them. They're sharing with us those challenges that before they didn't want to raise up or were afraid to raise up or didn't know where to raise that up. And so while we are seeing significant movement in terms of what we've done so far, we are still, I think, we're still at a discovery phase of what we can do to more systematically help address that for students, but we're at least illuminating each of those barriers. And Tom, I don't know if you want to speak to some even more specifics on that, or Trustee Epstein, if you have deeper questions. But so we're seeing significant movement, but we're also seeing that the ball to roll up the hill is large too.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, Marissa. no surprise to anyone on the call here, applying for benefits, successfully enrolling in these programs is more a marathon than a sprint. And so we've been very strategic about decomposing, okay, what is the very first step? We need to first identify who the students are. Then we have to understand, how can we connect them to the resources available? How can we then get them enrolled? How can we help them find the documents? It's a multi-step process. And I think, the humility and the modesty that Marissa mentioned, we've really tried to practice by investing a lot in that discovery stage. And so while we have done some of the more quantitative outcomes-oriented pilot testing that you're familiar with maybe from some of our past presentations at some of those earlier stages, we're very much in the design research stage of, the broader intervention that will be indexed ultimately on the outcome variable of, successful benefits application and enrollment. And so we are learning a ton, I will say, and we've been so lucky to work with Calbright students who are eager to share their insights and also have such varied experiences that on the one hand, we learn a lot. It also reveals just the complexity of this problem, because a one-size-fits-all solution is not going to be easy to come up with or maybe even appropriate in this context. And that's just looking at Calbright. As Marissa mentioned and as has come through in the presentation, we're now blowing the aperture up even more by bringing new community college partners into the equation. So all that to say, Trustee Epstein, I think we hope and we intend to be back in front of the board at some point with more of the quantitative insights into what did we do and how did it actually impact that ultimate outcome of successful enrollment in CalFresh, for example. We're still kind of elbows deep in the design process, though, and some of the design research.
Well, thanks. As you iterate on this, I'd be hope, and once you figure it all out and are actually showing results, I think this is really important. It's just bugged me for a long time, and that it should be. I'm glad you've got some colleges involved, and the more the better. And at some point, even it could be interacting with the people who run the California portal, so that they can integrate some of that as well. So. I hope this is success. It's really even almost beyond the scope, I think, of what a college can do. But it's so important, and I think there are probably other partners that might be willing to put in some resources and stuff too. Because I know this has been kicked around for a long time, and people want to figure it out. So if you're able to really identify some of the key drivers, I think that would be really important.
Trustee Brown.
So first, I wanted to answer your question about what it has looked like at other places in the state. At Los Angeles Harbor College, we had one individual. Her name was Alika Dadsistan, now Dadsistan Foley, because she found a husband at our college. She was the person that spearheaded before any of this conversation was happening, I think because she had a background in nonprofit. So a lot of times what happens is there's one individual that goes, hey, wait a minute, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we bringing this to students? And so she did. She didn't have any administrator telling her anything. She just did it. And she literally just right outside the door of the student services building was handing out food. And then when she left, that ended, as is often the case. So I think your question is critically important. And I think that this unique UCI partnership is giving us a lot of really great information in terms of the behavioral aspect, which is at the root of getting people to consider, to be aware, to be open. Those pieces, I don't think a lot of people have worked on. In the physical institutions, now that we have statewide a requirement that we have a basic need coordinator at every college, we are seeing things like a physical space with food, with hours. And some students know that they can go there and it's, those who are in the know go regularly and get the services. But I think what you're working on is so interesting, and I'm thinking about sort of this process that you talked about, because when did this, if you can remind me again, I know there's someone online that knows, when did this website that brought it all together launch, where everyone started using the same website?
That was October 2023, Trustee Brown.
Okay. So, and then I think it was just last year that we required that every college has a basic needs coordinator. So it sounds to me that we need more of our own infrastructure to be able to have these conversations, because it might have made more sense in the past for this to be handled at a regional level, but it doesn't make sense anymore. So we need to shift. And in that shift, I would love to see, let's say, like an annual event for basic needs coordinators to talk, to have some other higher level type task force work group happening to talk about what you're mentioning. And then, of course, as usual, we'd love to see Calbright presenting in this space about the pieces that you're working on, because a lot of people, because they're in the physical space, their focus has been on the physical space, right? And so also, how do we better support our online learners and getting access? So given all of that, though, and I really appreciate this work, I am wondering, though, where do these students, once we get them tapped in, where do they physically go? Since there's not like a come to this room at this time aspect to this. How does that work for Calbright?
Yeah, I'll speak to some of it, and then Tom and Kathy, if you have more. Truthfully, our students are all in a place. So there is no question that they are all in a county, in a community. So we have the combination of we interact with them virtually, but they are also in a place. And so we're trying to think about that intersection. But we've been able to be on, because so much is online these days, when you're applying in an online portal, we're able to join a webinar with them. And, we have the authority as the college and as, I think it's a CBO that we also got the authority to, so that we could see the data, although learning that goes, there's different pieces that only go so far, but because we're virtual, I actually think we've been able to sit alongside our students and get insights that maybe they wouldn't have had unless they might go to the center too and sit at a computer together. But for what it's worth, so far, I think it's been an asset rather than a barrier, because we've been able to be online and be alongside them and actually see what they are seeing and get to live that experience with them, who've been so generous to share that with us, so that we can learn from, oh, that's the hurdle, or that's what you need to fill out, or, oh, it might ask you for that number 4 times. Don't get discouraged, right? Here's a strategy. So we've been trying to capture what are ways that we can support students when we observe the variety of students and the hurdles that they're hitting, what could we help put in place? And then then that ends up relevant, whether they're our students or anywhere in the state, truthfully, whether they're not even students, right? So I think in this case, thus far, I'm sure there will be places where we'll hit a barrier, but thus far, it's actually been a strength in our ability to see them through that whole process.
But the where, in many communities, the farmers markets are access points for food. And so it's not just, and folks know, but there's a ways to go before we get there. But folks know that if they are under these guidelines, that there are opportunities for them in their communities to access food, and that's the best part.
Sorry to do this. So now that I've gone completely in one direction and said how great this is, the other side of my brain is saying, well, we have a contract with UCI that is, has an upper limit in the amount of time and money we can spend, and this could be an all-consuming project, and it doesn't directly relate to student progress. It obviously has an impact, and it'll affect these students' lives for the rest of their life if they're able to access this. But how does this, and what's the future of this contract in terms of actually, improving student performance directly?
So I will say one thing, and then I saw Trustee Haynes had some thoughts too that. But I'll speak to the broader question, which I very much appreciate as someone who is, you guys have noted, very diligent about every single dollar and being as efficient and effective and the highest impact we can and benefiting the most students and moving the needle the most on student outcomes, especially in service of economic and social mobility. That is why we are here, and everything is pointing toward that. And I will tell you, every single pilot we've done, people will tell us, oh, you can't tie that back. Absolutely. Leading indicators, right? We can look at how those signups are leading to the student doing their first substantive academic activity, and then what is that doing for pace and progress, and what is that doing for completion? So I promise you, we are tying it directly in pretty much everything we do, and we actually stand up there and help others think about that. In our tools competition, we had amazing partners, right? 600 plus applications centered around demonstrating that. That became part of the rubric and the criteria. So wholeheartedly align with that anchor. And then we have been really diligent in, we are not just spending, we have allocated a portion of time, a portion of dollars, and we're being as efficient as possible within that. But we have other high impact pilots that you'll be excited about that will be able to come either at the next meeting or the ones after that, with some of the other ones that are in motion that have that more direct tie, but also just know this is not like, oh, we're going to focus everything on this. We have a colorful map that you'd love to see, but that allocates this much time, this much dollars, because and then we think every time, how can we do this the most efficiently, the most effectively, in a way that can scale? How are we building our internal capacity so that it's not always relying on others, but how are we amplifying, accelerating, and building that capacity to make that replicable too? So 100%, I share that, and it's a map of things, and really being fiscally responsible with that too.
Thank you. Member Villavicencio, Trustee Villavicencio.
Thank you. Now, I was, and this is another way that Calbright can lead in terms of, as you mentioned, tracking the data, because I don't know if there's even any mandates that we have with basic needs. But since Trustee Epstein talked a little bit about, okay, what our campus does, I've been perusing through my campus website, and we do offer a lot. Obviously, we have a basic needs center. We also have a medical health center for students that we opened up, I know, a number of years ago. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago with COVID. We have behavioral health services, dental health services. We even have laundry services for our students. It just is, it's amazing how many of these programs exist. And that just got me thinking, are we tracking, these services, who's gathering them, and ultimately trying to figure out if there is an alignment with, obviously we know that there is going to be a correlation in terms of student success with all of this. And so I'm just grateful that this is in the forefront of Calbright's minds, and I think this is, again, where you can be, as Trustee Brown mentioned, an example for our system to see that we are utilizing our resources efficiently. And for me, it's back to my first comment, we're targeting the most vulnerable students who really, really need it. And sometimes it's those students who we're not reaching. I know I will tell you. So, continue the great work in thinking about this, and hopefully we're casting the net wide to make sure, again, the people who need it the most are the ones who are receiving it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I did have a lot of complimentary words to say, but I think not only did my colleagues cover it, but we are on a time limit. So I want to use that as a not so passive aggressive way of telling the board to keep it shorter. But I could not be more. Some of our trustees have compound questions, so I'll just say that. I could not be more complimentary of this, Marissa and team. I think the fact that you've engaged students so intentionally, the behavioral science component is a treasure trove. We just hope you will come back often to update us on your progress. So thank you very much. Any public comment on this one, Terry?
There is no public comment.
Okay. Wonderful. Before we move on to item 5.3, we have to pop back up to 4.3 because we have an issue around Trustee Corral's vote. That vote, as we learned from Wanda, needs to be unanimous. And Trustee Corral, for some reason, your vote isn't on the record. So if you could just register your vote.
Oh, I said aye. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Terry, do you have it?
Oh, yeah. I did have it.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's forever will be known as the mouse pad policy. So there it is. Thank you, Trustee Corral. 5.3 is Chief Financial Officer Ed Lee's purview, which is reports on contracts and purchases.
All right, I'm back, and hopefully always difficult following the exciting partnerships that the college is undertaking, but hopefully a more interesting topic than mouse pads. I'm here to provide a standard report of the monthly contract and purchase activity. These include expenditures from the month of October. So attachments to the agenda include the contracts report for October, which includes 2 contracts. There's also a purchase list total from the prior month of approximately $212,000. At this time, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any trustee questions? Hearing none. Terry, any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ed.
Thank you.
Item 6.1, we're now in constituency group reports, is the Calbright Academic Senate report from Michael Stewart.
Good morning, President Aguinaldo and Vice President Rawlings and Board of Trustees members. My name is Michael Stewart and I'm the President of Calbright's Academic Senate. Our faculty continue to demonstrate an outstanding commitment to academic excellence, innovation, and institutional growth. Our faculty have made significant efforts to enhance instructional quality while maintaining alignment with Calbright's mission. And as you know, right now, we're all drinking from the fire hose of AI. So our faculty are constantly refining our AI policy, ensuring the responsible, ethical use of technology and teaching that aligns with academic integrity and institutional values. We have also begun to develop an AI use template designed to guide and support the creation of future program level policies, providing a clear and consistent framework for responsible AI adoption across all disciplines, and designed to be flexible and to support initiatives and new programs as they come up. Our faculty are also working closely with our Human Resources Department to develop and improve professional development offerings within our Vision Resource Center, making sure training opportunities are relevant, impactful, and directly connected to student success. We also have plans for introducing Flex Days, which will provide structured opportunity for faculty collaboration and peer-led domain training to strengthen teaching practices across all disciplines. And we would also like to sincerely thank Ben Doe and the research development team for their ongoing partnership and support in creating weekly data reports that give our faculty actionable insights to enhance student matriculation, engagement, and persistence. And as we look ahead, Calbright's faculty remain committed to collaborating with our Board of Trustees and the Calbright College Administration to advance institutional goals and fulfill our promise to our students. Together, we will continue to develop innovative, accessible, and student-centered learning pathways that reflect our mission, our values, and our vision for a fairer, future-ready community college system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. We have no report from the Calbright Faculty Association, and we have Mike Palmieri here to report on the California School Employees Association. So now we're on 6.3. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Donna Howard, the president, who could not be here, so unfortunately you get to hear from me twice, but I'll try to make it quick. On behalf of Calbright College Chapter 53, which as of today has an 86% full membership of CSEA, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for your approval of the CSEA contract for the period of 2025 to 2028. The contract was ratified by a unanimous vote of our members, and it represents a significant step forward in our commitment to fostering a supportive and productive work environment at Calbright College. It is truly a pleasure to work at Calbright. We are dedicated to serving our students and the community. CSEA continues to maintain a collaborative spirit and commitment to excellence that permeates our institution. Each day we are inspired by our mission to empower students through education and support, and we are proud to contribute to this vital work. We sincerely appreciate the support and recognition that the Board of Trustees provides to all employees. Your commitment to fair and equitable employment practices ensures that we can continue to thrive and grow in our roles. The approval of the contract will not only enhance our working conditions, but also strengthen our collective ability to serve our students effectively. Thank you once again for your support and leadership. We look forward to continuing our partnership and making Calbright College an exceptional place for both employees and students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Item 6.4 is the Associated Students of Calbright College update, and for that we welcome Deb Hemingway.
Thank you so much, and good morning, good afternoon to everyone. I really appreciate being here. For those who do not know, I am Deb Hemingway. I am the ASCC president for Calbright College. Associated Students of Calbright College, also known as ASCC, continues to prioritize our 2025 Student Engagement Plan goals, reducing isolation and strengthening community through intentional, consistent engagement, encouraging student celebration and visibility by highlighting student voices and achievements, and empowering students to lead through participation in activities, events, and officer-led initiatives. Now, this month, we have built on the foundation established earlier in the year, ensuring that engagement opportunities remain consistent and accessible. And also, planning is underway for the Bright Stars Awards in December, an event that recognizes outstanding Calbright students, staff, and community contributions. This initiative promotes visibility, celebration, and belonging directly with ASCC's core engagement goals. And preparations include coordinating nominations and voting, outlining categories that reflect student leadership, peer support, and innovation, and promoting the event to encourage broad participation across our student body. And now we also have Coffee Corner, which is a consistent space for connection. This ongoing initiative invites students to gather in a casual setting on Slack to share updates, challenges, and encouragement. As the holidays approach, Coffee Corner also serves as a reminder of the importance of community during a busy and sometimes isolating session. And also, last but not least, is Technically Studying Weekends. Since its launch, Technically Studying has provided structure and peer-led student study blocks on weekends. Now, in September 2025, ASCC expanded this initiative to include weekend sessions, offering additional flexibility for students balancing work, family, and academics. Now, weekend sessions continue to provide focused time for coursework and community support. Hosting opportunities remain open to ensure that this is a student-driven initiative that adapts to learner needs. And on that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Deb. I echo Vice President Rawlings when he said that it's great to see you in person. Okay, we are at 7.1 Public Forum. Terry, are there any members of the public who wish to be heard?
There are no members who wish to be heard, President Aguinaldo.
Excellent. We are now at 8.1. It is 11:54, team. The business of the Board of Trustees is now complete, and we can adjourn. Thank you for your participation.